right, guys, welcome to the Man United Agenda. It's Monday, and we are starting a new week with a bang. Great show lined up. It's going to be all about gossip, transfer stuff, and everything Man United. I am joined today by the mighty Bath Time. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Lot going on today.
Apparently so. You know, you'd think, okay, things are going to be slow after we got a couple of deals over the line, but yeah, lot to talk about tonight, no doubt about it. Let's just touch on a few comments. I know the title of the show said Sancho is off, question mark, and so they said no, he's going nowhere. It's funny how people change their tune, isn't it? Was so long ago where people said he can never come back, including me. I said he needs to apologise, which he probably has. Welcome to the beautiful Dora. How you doing, Dora? Lovely to see you. She's saying the great headline on the stream. Be Bath Time. I know that you're hosting this. Whoops, you got that wrong. I'm hosting, but Bath Time's done the thumbnail and the title as well. So, what was it? What's she talking about here? Is it? I saw Sancho off. What was the other part of the headline?
Casemiro to stay and the pony in limbo.
Of course. That's definitely you then. Definitely you. Bilal's in the house saying, just watched the Lenny interview. He talks like a 40-year-old man. Maturity. We like that, don't we, Bilal? Big up Andrew Williams. How you doing? Says, evening, young men. Thank you very much. And evening chat as well from Andrew Williams. Okay. Before we start, how was your weekend, Bath Time? Are you back in pre-season training or anything yet?
No. I'm not. I'm not doing pre-season till end of August, beginning of September.
Oh wow, it's a long way off.
Yeah, okay. Like when are your games starting?
We've got games probably starting in August, mid-August or something like that.
What, for the league?
No, friendlies, that is. League games probably mid-September.
Yeah, okay.
A month of games and training to get us in shape. Obviously, we're not professional. Well, I'm not, that's for sure. Okay, what have we got on the agenda tonight? Let's have a look.
We've got a lot of transfer rumours, and if anyone wants to talk about Ten Hag's Times interview, I found it as amusing as everyone else. So, but I don't think that it's that interesting. He just said some stupid things, which is nothing new, really.
I think we touched on that the other day about being Dutch and the way he came across. Was that the interview?
No, he did one. One came out on Sunday. Where Ten Hag said that since he'd come to England, with the exception of Pep Guardiola, he dominated the league.
Yeah.
Which basically
can we talk about that? Because I was arguing about that today.
Okay, right. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. So the quote is he made a claim that since he's come to England 2 seasons, he's only behind Pep as in success. I said, in my response, I had to type to someone who was giving us hell about this. I said, look, the success rate is 25%. You're in 4 trophies a year, the 2 domestic cups, league, and a European competition. And he's won like a quarter of the competitions every season. So last year was a League Cup. This year's won FA Cup. That's good success considering there's only 4 trophies to fight for. So I believe he has been successful. Coming into a side that's broken, doing the repair job, but in the meantime, while he's doing the repair job, also picking up 2 trophies as well. Something we should be proud of because we've been struggling for a long time now to do that. So I wouldn't mind if he won nothing and we could see progress, but we have won competitions and now we start to see progress. It wasn't visible to everyone initially, but now we start to say, okay, we've got the right structure in. So he should be boasting up and saying, yeah, I can't think of anyone else who's won 2 competitions the last 2 years either.
And what do you think, Amonde, would be the counterpoints that someone would make to that?
8th place in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the main issue. 12 losses, minus goal difference. This is the stuff I'm hearing from rival fans.
Europe?
The usual stuff. Europe, yeah, bottom of the league and embarrassing, not holding on to a lead. These are the stuff that they're bringing to us. And a lot of that was last season. And a 7-0 and a 5-0 thrashing that we had, or what was it, 5-1 or something from Liverpool. So those are the pointers that kind of, I don't know, it doesn't balance out. I like to look at things on overview, and I just think, yeah, that happened, but it needed to happen to us to get to where we are today, where we're feeling a lot more confident and optimistic about the future. 2 trophies in 2 years, not bad.
So, Amanda, when you sort of see stuff like that, Ten Hag coming up and bigging up his achievements, do you think that? How do you think people in the squad and around the club react to that kind of stuff, especially as it looked like he was going to lose his job before we won the FA Cup, which was great.
Well, I don't think people in the squad, if they're hearing that from the manager, I think it sort of gives confidence. It spreads confidence around to say, look, we might be up against it and everything else, but I'm still going to stand firm and I'm still going to, talk about the positives. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh God, we've had such a terrible time. Oh, this is really bad. You got to be confident. You got to express that confidence, and it spreads amongst the squad and amongst the whole setup. This is the whole thing. If you go to a meeting bath time, like he's had a lot. I imagine let's visualize this bath time. The manager sat down with the board, with Ratcliffe and all these top guys, and he's not gone in there like, oh my God, minus goal difference. Oh my God, he's gone in there probably to sell himself and sell what he can offer for the future. So talking confident is going to get you a long way. If you go in there with your head down and say, oh man, it's not my fault, and minus goal difference, and this it's nothing to do with me, and and being negative about it, you're not going to turn anyone on. I think he has to speak like that as the leader, the focal point of Manchester United, not only for the players like you asked about, but for the whole public as well. Man United fan base, they need to see and hear things like that. A lot of confidence from the boss.
Do you not think that's dropping standards tremendously?
No.
Why not?
Because it's relative, isn't it? You got
relative to what?
Relative to where we are as a football club when he came into the club.
Right. So the 2 seasons beforehand, we'd been in a European final. We'd finished above Liverpool, and we were getting Champions League qualification. We scored more goals. We conceded less. We had more of the ball, and we had an unbeaten away record.
Yeah. So this is a good discussion. The reason I say it's relative bath time is because, these things happen. We came second or third and all this kind of thing, but it's never pushing us over the line. We're a great club. We need to reset and come back so we can go over the line. This is from buying Cavani, bringing Ronaldo in, short-term measures to try to get us up. But we're faking it. We're cheating ourselves because this is not a true reflection of where we really are as a club. Because when we really observed it, like our man Ralph Rennick came in, even though we did come second or we might have got to European final or whatever, we're still badly damaged as a club. So now we're seeing a change, and I'm hoping you agree with me, and I'm hoping you're nodding. We can't see you, but I hope you're nodding and saying, yeah, you're right. Now we've seen a change in the structure of the club. Now we're more optimistic about how we move forward with this manager, with the structure, and more optimistic about winning a major trophy again, whether it's 3-4 years down the line. But you can see it happening rather than just buying quick fixes. We're actually starting from the beginning and building a big foundation to get us back on top. And that's what it really takes. We've seen that with big clubs like City, winning things. Liverpool took Klopp a few years before he won the title. You need to get things right in all areas of the club. And I can see us doing that. So that's the difference between having a full sense of security by buying big players. We can pay big wages. All right, let's get Ronaldo in. Let's get Cavani in. Let's get a couple of good players in. And that will just close the gap and get us close enough and satisfy the fans. So now we're doing it properly and we're acting like a proper club again. Counter?
You see, no, I think that's poor argument, well made, because the thing is that all last season we saw absolutely bizarre statements coming from Ten Hag. We saw the performances, we saw what was out on the team, what was out on the pitch, and Ten Hag would come in and say, "This is wonderful. We did really well today. Just a couple of silly errors." When you come out and say that no one in English football has been as successful, has been more successful than Guardiola, and you base it off trophies, that's fine. But you've also produced the worst season in Premier League history from Manchester United, and you can't sweep that away. Like, even when Jose won the Europa League and the Carabao Cup, or whatever it was called back then, we were something like 19 points behind Chelsea in 5th or 6th place. And it was embarrassing. And last season should be seen as an embarrassment because of the football we played, the results that we got, and we won against Liverpool, we won against City. That's absolutely fantastic. That's great. But those two big games kind of came after there was a shift and Ten Hag had a bit of responsibility taken from him. So I think that the comments are utterly ridiculous. And I mean, there's something that it's like a cross between David Brent from The Office and Chemical Ali from Saddam Hussein's Bath Party, which I'm not affiliated with.
I've never heard of him, but I'm not going to ask about him on this show. That's politics. But all right, yeah, I hear your point, but I still think it's relative. That was the key word for me. You're talking, you're still repeating what rival fans would say about last season. Sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to come forward, and that's what he's done. It's like open heart surgery again. We've seen this said, and we've seen it happen. It's like prophecy coming true. This is what needed to happen. And to do that, we have to take a few steps back and ruffle a few feathers, which we did with players and all that. And now anyone coming on board will understand, okay, we're refreshed, we press the reset button. We know what our identity is like now. We know the culture of the club, and hopefully the players will start performing. And now we've got people behind the scenes as well, delivering already, as we've seen with the transfers. And we will talk about more transfers and ins and outs on this show tonight. But before we do bath time, are you finished with this argument?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, what do you think? Do you agree with me, or do you agree with bath time? Judging by the comments that I'm clicking so far, I think bath time's winning this one. But it's okay. It's okay. We continue like this. Bilal, just watched Lenny's 40-year-old, like a 40-year-old, very mature. We put this, I'm reading this out, I don't know what you guys think in the comments, but how did Lenny come across to you? And obviously, he performed on the weekend. Early doors, how you doing? It's a good evening, bath time on Monday. I hope the pair of you are okay. We're doing okay, thank you. Big up to Dora. Eric Ten Hag smuggled some grass in from the Netherlands. From his comments, there you go. I feel him. We're the same, said Dora. We got good evenings going round. Here we go. Andrew Williams saying, Amonde agrees. Surprise, surprise. So obviously, he doesn't agree with me. Agile Beast, how you doing? Negative goal difference and the worst ever place finish in the Premier League. What is Ten Hag smoking? Gaslighting King Moran says Eric Ten Hag is gaslighting King Moran. Is a gaslighting King Moron. Sorry, I'm thinking Kevin Moran. Moron. Hi Joe, how you doing? Big up Stephanie. Thank you so much. Andrew again saying, no, I don't. Doesn't the players are not complete idiots? Okay, so he's not fooling the players, as you asked the question there, bath time. You can only top polish turds so much, says Agile Beast. Amonde, you really worry me, says Andrew Williams. United have been wasteful on and off the pitch. You guys are stuck in 2023. Bilal saying here, Guardiola is bald, overrated, cheating, fraud. So it makes Ten Hag a better manager. Anyone else? We only sensible comments here. Dora saying, I only agree that Ten Hag is high 90% of the time. Okay, so not all the time. And before we move on, Bart, how you doing? He says, don't see Sancho leaving permanently. Obviously, he's read the title. All right. It's inconclusive, bath time.
I think that's fairly conclusive, to be honest. Monday, like you back your man. It's fine. It's just that we don't want to live in a country and western song. We want to live in the present.
So what's happening in the present then? Let's talk.
A lot of nonsense, to be honest. So what has basically come out today is that there is interest from PSG in taking Sancho. There's interest in them taking Bruno. There's rumours that we are preparing a mega deal bid for Xavi Simons. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Who belongs to PSG.
Yeah. And Ugarte, who also belongs to PSG, is obviously very, very strongly linked to us in a deal most people expect to happen. So first of all, let's look at these in the sort of grand scheme of things. Like, how likely? Give me a percentage for each one of these things. Sancho to PSG.
So it's all to do with PSG. So have we got a good relationship with them? I'm not sure. I read today that they obviously got rid of Mbappe. They were looking at a Napoli striker, a Nigerian striker, but they're having problems because of the price. For once, they're saying they're not prepared to pay Napoli 120 million, whatever they demanded. So they're not really flushed with cash, I'd say. They want to be sensible with their signings. So they're looking at Sancho, they're looking at Bruno, two of our most creative players. Sancho going to PSG after what happened last year. He's come back, he's played a game on the weekend. Everyone's accepted him back, but already there's rumours about him going. I think that's a strong possibility because I don't think you can, make amends for what happened last year. Maybe the manager's making plans without him, not knowing that he's definitely going to come back onto the scene. Where does he play? Is he going to get a first team slot? These are things Sancho needs to worry about. So I think that's about 70% could be going through. Second one, Bruno to PSG. Obviously, if he does stay, we're going to have to sign a new contract for him. He's at the age now where, you have to start thinking, is it worth keeping him or should we make our money now? I think for me, that's 60-40 that he could go to PSG. The reason why, because the guy below him, Xavi Simons, would be an ideal replacement. He's the young attacking midfielder. He scored a great goal against England. He's been all over the place. He started at Barcelona with a nice, when he was young, he was a curly head little wonder kid. And then he left Barcelona to go to PSG. He's actually Dutch, And then he'd been on loan ever since. He was on loan at various different clubs and slowly getting better and better. He was at PSV, I believe, and now he was playing in Red Bull last season. So he's gone back to PSG now. He's well sought after, and he would be a like-for-like replacement for Bruno, I imagine. And he's a young star of the future. So I think the Bruno one gets 60% based on we're dealing with the same club, and Xavi Simons could possibly come to Man United. So I'm going 60% for Bruno. It's obviously 60% for Xavi Simons, and obviously I'm going to say 99.9% for Ugarte. What do you think?
I would be stunned if the Bruno Xavi Simons deal worked out. I think Xavi Simons is destined for Bayern Munich. I think it would be insanity from the club to swap Bruno for Xavi Simons. Bruno is our club captain. He's obviously the sort of the leader. It's very difficult to get a player that is as good as Bruno, who loves the club and does all the extra stuff around it. I think I can't believe that we would swap him for another of these sort of like Dutch number 10s, and that we'll see where they end up in their career. I'm not wildly impressed with Xavi Simons. I think like Dani Olmo looks a better player to me, for example.
Yeah.
Sancho to PSG, I think it's a little bit interesting because if Sancho goes to PSG, I don't think that Antony will leave like on a loan. I don't think we can get rid of both of them this window. And I would prefer to keep Sancho over Antony, to be perfectly honest.
Yes, me too.
Would you?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Why?
I just think Sancho, I've always felt Sancho is a better player. But if he's not playing ball, if there's issues behind the scenes that we don't know about, well, clearly there was, because he wouldn't say sorry last year. But if that continues, then I don't want an unhappy player at the club. And then I would have to accept Antony if he hangs around. But I like Sancho. I just think his time, it's down to him. It's down to Sancho. He needs to change a lot of stuff in his life, change his attitude, and get it right. Have a couple of good seasons at Man United, and soon the fans will forget about the past. But it's down to him. He's come back this season. He really needs to put his head down, train hard, get himself in the team, and shut all the fans up who are disappointed, like me being.
Do you think he can do it?
Yes,
like realistically,
I really do. I really do think he can. But it's going to take. It means him being patient. It's a long season. He will get his shot eventually, and when he does come in, he needs to be ready to go and really show everyone what we paid all that money for and why. When he's seeing players like Phil Foden, when he's seeing this, all these youngsters, some younger than him, become these great wonder kids. Watched the Euros recently. He wasn't a part of that. He must be thinking, I'm better than that guy. I could do what he does. So where's the motivation? Where's the motivation from Sancho? He's got to turn it around and show us that his attitude is right, because we all know he's got the talent.
I mean, I would like to see Sancho leave the club, but I don't know if this is particularly likely. I think what's happened here is that Ineos, I'm going to guess have quite a good relationship with PSG, based off the fact that they're a petrochemical company and they also own Nice in France. I would suspect that something quite sensible has happened where they've sat around the table, well, not literally, but through agents and things, and discussed like what players they're interested in, what kind of fees that they would want, and things like this around the Ugarte deal. Like Ugarte, I think is going to happen. The rest, I don't think are going to happen. Certainly not anytime soon, because Victor Osimhen is their number one target to replace Mbappe. It's a move. Like Osimhen's a very, very good player, and it's a move that makes a lot of sense. I imagine that Sancho is kind of a backup option, and so on. It's interesting that Rashford isn't linked, but I think that like 75% of this is bollocks, and the only thing that's really true is Ugarte. But what do people in the comments think, and do they want any of these transfers to happen?
Well, we're about to find out. So Bart saying hello all. Bart saying here, I don't see Sancho leaving permanently as he's on De Bruyne rate wages. The best would be a loan deal with a clause, possibly. Stephanie Griffiths with the jokes. She's saying PSG multi-transfer swap shop. That's where's Nolan Edmonds, she's saying there. Remember that's old school swap shop from the 80s. Ugarte is not great on the ball. He's just very aggressive and slides a lot. Someone's been watching YouTube videos. That's my brother Zico. How you doing, bro? Good to see you. PSG will not sign Sancho, says Bart, as they aren't the same club and they were during the first dozen years of the Qatari ownership. Campos is good and a shrewd operator. Xavi Simons is going Bayern Munich, according to my brother. Xavi Simons, is he worth it? He's okay, but nothing special, says Dora.
What do you think? What do you think about that, Amonde? Like,
well, I say this when I've watched him since he's like 12 years old. He was. Brilliant. I thought he was going to be like a Xavi, Iniesta sort of midfield player. I didn't think he had that athletic kind of burst and speed, but he's turned out to be an attacking, probing, runner and a good attacking player. He can play anywhere across the line. Really surprised by that. He's grown a lot. He's had a growth spurt. I thought he was always going to be short ball player. So he's got technique. He's got ambition. He's always been sought after. And I think he would be a good fit for Man United because you can get a lot out of him. Not only that, because he's Dutch as well. And I've heard talk there, obviously coming to the next comment here. Big up Paul Turney. He said he worked with Van Nistelrooy at PSV. So maybe people are starting to put two and two together here and talk about, Rude must have said something about him, positive. You never know. This is why all these stories coming up. Trevor, how you doing? He says, good evening. Trevor Fever, how you doing, Trevor? You have to choose one. Beanhouse putting it on Andrew Williams. He won't fold. Bart saying here, to put it bluntly, PSG already have an injury-prone ex-Dortmund underwhelming winger in Dembele. I don't see them going for Jadon Sancho, whose game doesn't suit the Premier League. Paul Tini saying, I watch plenty of football, and Strasbourg French midfielder Doha is the next Kante. Watch out for him. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that guy. Emma's saying here, I quite like Simmons. However, I don't think he's the player we need, and he's still very much in the learning development. I'd rather invest time in an academy boy. Okay, you watch the academy boys for half time at the weekend. I'm sure. Anyone? Is that a good shout from our Vera and Emma about?
There was no one who stood out as a sort of between the lines attacking midfielder, but Fletcher and Odedele in particular really impressed me.
Who is that guy in midfield? Isn't it? What do you call him? Odedele?
Yeah, the number 4.
Never seen him before, but I was very impressed by him.
I was. He looks to me that like he can play. Like he reminds me a bit of Rico Lewis in the fact that he seemed quite comfortable in a lot of different parts of the pitch, but with an engine on him. And I know everyone's really excited about Collier or whatever, but I think Fletcher and Odedele really stood out to me, and I'd love to see one of them start the next match with the first team. Not that Collier's done anything wrong, but I think they've done enough to see how they get on with the better players, as it were.
I think that guy, very impressive for me. I've never seen him before. I'm thinking, where have you come from? Who is this guy? I thought it was Lenny playing in midfield for a period. I came in, I only watched the second half. I thought, why they put Lenny in midfield? But it wasn't. That nice through ball, wait pass for the goal, the second
Lovely.
goal. It was beautiful, and the way he was getting around the pitch, very unselfish as well, popping it around physically as well. I think he's almost ready for senior football.
That's the thing.
Mm.
That's the thing is that like those three players, Collier, Fletcher, and Odiele, they look ready. Someone like Harry Amas, who's obviously going to be a good player, he doesn't look physically. He doesn't just look like he's there yet. But those players did, and I'm really excited to see what we do with them because we haven't produced a lot of sort of like physical. I mean, really, it's just McTominay that was physically outstanding from the academy in the last 10 years. Maybe an argument for Rashford with his pace, but I'm really looking forward to see what they're cooking at Carrington because it looks like we're getting a lot of good players like coming through, and it's exciting times.
Zico saying here, what's going on with Mount? What's going to happen to him? That was you watched Mount the other day, and you're quite impressed with the goals he set up. So talk to us about that. What did you see from Mount? Because a lot of people are asking about where is he going to play. I heard Goldbridge as well was talking today about there's no position for him. He's going to be second choice. He's not going to get him beyond Ugarte, Bruno, and our boy Kobe in midfield. So where is he going to play? So what did you see against Rangers?
Well, he played like the right. Actually, I know something about this that Bart doesn't know. That 16-year-old who scored 10 goals against Liverpool, Liverpool's goalkeeper was an outfielder. He wasn't a goalkeeper. He was so.
That's Obi Michel, sorry.
Is it Shidu?
Yeah. But he still scored 38 goals in 18 games. Though.
Yeah, he's obviously very good for his age group. I think, right, so Goldbridge, wonderful chap, but not the greatest understanding of how a football match works and definitely not how a midfield works. What Mount was doing was he was playing the right-sided box-to-box midfield role, which means that you don't get a lot of touches on the ball and the majority of what you're doing is running. However, with Yoro playing the right-sided centre-back, Mount was dropping in and receiving on the half turn a lot, which is extremely unusual for a box-box midfielder to do. I felt that his pressing was good. Like he noticeably struck me as someone who looked more on it than everyone else. I felt that his channel runs and his channel defending were top notch, and I felt that he gave Ahmad the platform to perform. And like Bruno never gets injured, etc. But Kobe, I think, is going to have a difficult second season. Like Garnacho, I felt had a difficult second season. Struggling for consistency, learning the sort of levels and the limits of their game, like testing, just learning the game a bit. So I can see Mount coming in for 2 or 3 games, like Kobe coming off the bench and so on. Like I'm not sure Mount is going to be a starter, but I don't think he's too far away, and it raises the level of the whole squad up.
So what Zico was asking, and I thought what Goldbridge asked as well, you're basically saying he'd be playing like in a midfield 3, maybe as number 8, not playing like wide left, wide right, or an attacking position, more as well in midfield 3.
He might do. I just feel that in terms of so if you look at right wing, Ahmad, I think, is probably our starter at the moment. You've then got Anthony, you've then got Sancho, and then you've then got Mount. And that's not including Rashford or Garnacho. Yeah. And then on the other side, you've got a very similar thing with Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho. So I think it's going to be difficult for Mount to get a first-team place down as a left or right forward. I'm not sure what he's like in the false 9. But you have to remember, he's an excellent player, Mount. Like, he was Chelsea's Player of the Year twice. He's won a Champions League. He hasn't become bad overnight, and he's going to push McTominay and Kobe for that box-to-box role, I think. And, who knows? Like, Bruno might end up playing false 9 all season, and we have, like, Ugarte, Mount, and Kobe as the first-choice midfield.
Wow, interesting that. Very good. He looked physically strong with that goal where he set up that drive and run, taking the ball and driving into the channel. That when the game's played, sort of that sort of pace, pre-season pace, to see him do that, he looked like a pro. He looked like he's ready to go. So
he's probably a week ahead of everyone else as well. You think he'd come back like really trying to sort of be on it and stuff. So like pre-season's always good to sort of see players and things, but until all their like physical levels equate and equalize with each other, it's probably, you know, do you want to fall into the Andres Pereira trap again?
Right. Just quickly, saying Zico saying about Palestri, he's still on our books, isn't he? And Odier Dele, his mum's Polish, his dad's Nigerian. So just to wrap up with a Garte deal, do you think once the Garte deal goes through, it's going to be like a domino effect? Other transfers between Bayern, PSG would start to go through, because that's how it usually goes, isn't it?
Possibly. I think United have got a couple of irons in the fire about midfield, and there've been reports that not everyone at the club is convinced by Ugarte. So, and also the price is just it's so stupid to try and charge us £70 million for a Europa League standard player. Like Ugate's £45 million player, I would think. So it's probably going to be a very annoying series of negotiations. And as we're going to see in a second, with people like Fofana, Amrabat, Casemiro, and McTominay's situation, I don't necessarily think that this is our sort of our full focus, as it were, at the moment.
Just quickly on that point, because apparently we went in for Onana before he left Everton to go to Aston Villa at the last minute, and he rejected us because he'd already made a deal with Villa. But he's gone for 50 million. Do you think that's someone we've missed out on?
Yeah, probably. To be honest, I'm a big fan of Onana, and I like him a lot. I think he's got potential to develop, but I get the impression that we just tried to like. Sometimes I think in football, when a player is just about to leave, meaning that the contract and the price have been negotiated, people just ring around and ask, would he be interested or something like that? And I think that was probably the case with United. He'll be a bit like Xavi Simons, a player that we know of and that we've sort of scouted and might retain an interest in, but I don't know how real the desire to really bring the player in is.
Okay. What have you got next for us, Bath Time? You're talking about midfielders. Casemiro. I want to know what's going on with him.
Okay, well, Casemiro is likely to stay at United. Interest from Saudi has cooled of late. A departure later in the window cannot be ruled out. But I think that this all ties in with the fact that he's been made captain, has started every game. He looks a little bit thinner. I think that we have to accept that Casemiro is definitely going to go on the tour, and we might get some interest really, really late on in the window. You know, like the last 2 days or whatever, when the Saudi League panics, because at the moment, I think that what the PIF, Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, is doing is that they're trying to get younger players in. And as they work up, like as they work through the list, the names on their list, Casemiro is right towards the end of that, because he's also towards the end of his career. So it's a move that may happen, but probably not.
Okay, well, they've just signed Diaby from Villa, haven't they? Who's a young 25-year-old. So you're right with that sort of strategy. That's the way they're going forward. So let's start at the top here with Wan-Bissaka. Interesting news here, because Man United expecting offers for Wan-Bissaka and in a position to act if a suitable offer comes through. United have looked at a number of players, including Monaco's Vanderson and Bayer Leverkusen's Frimpong. And I just want to add to that as well. The Bayern Munich former Ajax right back, Moroccan good dude. There's news that we'll be going for him as well.
He's on the next slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm jumping the gun here.
I can't believe you didn't put the heights in. I went and looked them up.
They're tiny, aren't they?
Yeah, that's two. If we get Frimpong, that's 2 5'7" players in our back four.
Yeah.
But I've looked at both of these players. I mean, obviously, Frimpong would be attractive because he's homegrown, which is nice. He's also Dutch, which is what our club appears to be now. And he's not really a right back. And Vanderson's not really a right back either. They're sort of Dumfries style players where they provide the width on the right hand side. They're up and down, like they're sort of like a bit the way that Dani Alves was used in the prime Barcelona sides. They're given one length of the pitch and they just run up and down it, causing problems.
So it looks like it's the end for Wan-Bissaka. Either way, it looks more and more every day. We're getting stories about him possibly leaving, and we've accepted that, and we've come to terms with it. That he's had a good run, but it could be curtains for him.
Good run. Yeah. To be fair, he was very important for Kobe's goal in the FA Cup final. He made a good channel run there. Yeah, I mean, Wan-Bissaka, he's a sort of lower Premier League player, or maybe sort of Turkey or Italy or somewhere like that. I think that he's had his time. He's had his chances. We haven't really seen him develop or come on. I know that he's sort of a bit of a Marmite player. Some players love him. Some fans love him. Some don't. I think that when you look at the players that we're linked with, we're looking for something completely different from our right back. And I would like to see this move go ahead, because I'm quite intrigued what Ten Hag's kind of complete vision would look like.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with you there on that. Because Wan-Bissaka, we know what he does, but these other guys, the two guys talking about Frimpong and Vanderson, I've heard a lot about Vanderson over the years, but he still remains at Monaco. And there's another player at Monaco we're looking at in midfield, but we'll come on to it in a sec. Because Bayern Munich have rejected a £29 million offer from Manchester United for Matthias de Ligt. Bayern Munich are demanding 42 plus add-ons. Negotiations between the clubs continue. Is this going to drag on in the way Frankie de Jong did?
Yes and no. I think that there's a couple of there's a bit of context around this that I think puts us in an extremely strong position, which is that Bayern, they want to swap de Ligt for Jonathan Tah. Okay, like that, they want to take Leverkusen's best defender. De Ligt's on big wages. The move can only happen for Tah if de Ligt goes. De Ligt is an ex-Ajax player who's been trained by Ten Hag and is one of the very few players in world football that probably doesn't need a pre-season to understand the system.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think that we're desperate to get him in on the tour to understand how he's going to play, because he knows that. All we really want from him is to be match fit on the first day or two. So I think that we're in control here. The player wants the move. Ten Hag has already spoken as if the deal is concluded. I think that this is United just a bit of brinksmanship, knowing that we're in the driving seat for once, and the longer we wait, the more desperate Bayern become. So I imagine the deal will meet in the middle and do it for about 35 million.
You asked me earlier for percentages of the signing happening. What would you say with the de Ligt then?
90.
No, okay. Oh, well, it's on then. All right, a couple of comments here. Bart saying Mazraoui could be an option for United if they're in the market for the right back. It's all on the news right now, isn't it? Casemiro is a shining example of Eric Ten Hag's double standard, says Andrew Williams. I can see Wan-Bissaka fit in at Palace or West Ham, says Bart. United are after Girona's right back Gutierrez. Apparently, he's impressive. Don't get to see much of Italian or Spanish football anymore. Mazraoui is a decent shout for fullback, but he's 26. Is that acceptable to Ineos, says Agile Beast? Because obviously we know he was players under 25. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on with the
pony.
Yeah, the pony and the guy from Monaco and Mazraoui or whatever you.
All right. Okay, we'll deal with Amrabat first, which is that we're having a chat to Fiorentina about the fee for Amrabat. We obviously, under the Glazers, we had a loan agreement where the deal was 10 million for the loan, then 20 million to sign him permanently, and then that could go, and then 10 million euros in add-ons, which is a nonsensical amount of money for a player of Amrabat standard, like absolutely a Europa Conference League standard player. I think what you have to look at with someone like Amrabat is if we get him in for 3 years, how many games do you think he should be given?
We had time to assess him last year, and I don't think he would be a first-team player for us at all. He needs to understand that if he's going to come to the club, are you ambitious enough to actually, try and get yourself into the first team and be a starter? Do you have the quality, or are you delusional, thinking you can get in? I don't think he can. I know we disrespect him and call him Shetland pony, but there's a reason for that. His running style, you don't think he's got the physicality. I don't think he's got the right technique or he's not on it enough to play in the Premier League at the highest level if we want to be winning major trophies. So I would say no to this. I don't understand why we're going in for this guy. We've seen enough of him. I don't know what the guys in the comments think, but for me, I don't want him around anymore. I think he had a good run. He got a few games last season, but he won't be playing that much if we signed him on a permanent deal.
So I think it's like, like we have that sort of like every player has a price. Like I think Mr. B said he'd take 90 million for Garnacho once. Right. With Amrabat, I think that what you're looking at is maybe 10 games a season, 10 to 15 games maximum out of him a season, lower end of the cup, bit of like the early stages of Europe, and essentially just sort of cover. If we were to get that, if we were to pay 10 to 12 million for him, I think that that's perfectly fine because he's not going to feature a lot, but he does understand the way the club is run. He knows all the players. He's got a little bit of experience in the league. I don't think it's a bad deal for a minimal amount of money, but you have to remember is that he's not anywhere near a first team player and he's not going to get United forward at all. He's just he's a cover player that we know and we can trust his character.
So Bilal saying here, you need him for legs. So if you're going to pay like 5 to 10 million for him for the legs for 10 games a year, which you do need players like that, maybe. How old is he, Bath time?
I don't know, but he's older than you think. I think he might be 28 or 29.
Okay.
But he's also refusing to go to pre-season training at Fiorentina again, and it's just deja vu, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The second page of the rumours. So a lot of this is coming from Fabrizio Romano. Fofana, the Monaco midfielder. We like him, but that's literally it. AC Milan, he's agreed personal terms with. Bit like Xerxes. Nothing in his advance. I think that we could do this deal if we want to. But I suspect he's quite low down on the options. If AC Milan had been able to agree a fee of 30 million euros for him, we could do that as well, and we haven't. But with Xerxes, we did the opposite. So unfortunately, I don't think this one is going to happen.
Okay. I heard today AC Milan are offering like 3.5 million a year. So I don't know how that works out of wages, but it's not that much. It wouldn't be more than 100 grand, I don't imagine.
It's about 75,000 a week.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, so that's still one. I don't know what I haven't seen enough. I saw him come on for France in the Euros. Didn't do much. Didn't stand out to me, but clearly he's obviously on the move and he's sought after by a club like AC Milan. It's a no from me. Next one.
I'm all right with Fofana, to be honest. I think that, in terms of physicality, the Premier League is head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah.
But Serie A and the Uber Eats League, the French league, are the two next ones. Well, no, it's called Uber. That's who sponsors it, Uber Eats. Yeah. And I think that physicality actually transfers over quite well from France. I don't think it does from Italy when you look at Pogba, for example. But French players normally do quite well in the Premier League. But the fact that Ineos are kind of based in France, or at least have been for a couple of years, and we haven't done this move, unfortunately, I can't see it happening. So, and here's another move I can't see happening, which is a Colombian midfielder called Richard Rios. Has got a highlight reel from the Copa America. and we've been linked with him. I'd be absolutely stunned if this deal happened straight from Latin America to Manchester United. Absolutely not.
Okay, we saw that with the Brighton boy. We were linked with him, weren't we? Before he went to Chelsea. Yeah, we missed out on him. It's hard to tell, isn't it? With these South American players, Colombian midfielder. They got to the final, didn't they? But is he a youngster? This guy, Richard Rios.
I don't know too much about him. I watched him, and he's just a standard South American midfielder, like very sort of rangy. Doesn't have a lot of meat on him. He was a reasonable height, but I mean, you've got to put these boys into Villarreal for 2 seasons and see how they get on, because it is a huge move from Latin America to Europe, and so many players like Mati Fernandez, for example.
Oh yeah,
do you know him? He was easily the best player in Latin America for 2 or 3 seasons, but he couldn't do it. It's a difficult league to get players to sort of adjust from, and there's also a lot of sort of cultural issues and things, as we're seeing from Enzo Fernandez and Martinez and Garnacho, maybe.
Well, we're talking foreign players. Andrew Williams saying here, United linked with far too many foreign players.
Very good point.
We should sign British, he's saying, and just giving the 2 examples, Branthwaite and Tony.
I think he's right, Amonde, because the first thing that Jim said when he came in was British core. That's what he wanted. And England have a hell of a good football team, right? I don't think anyone can deny that. Like, United should have far more than one player in the England first team. Yeah. And I'm very surprised that when he talked about British core, Elise, I know he's technically not British, but he basically is. Like, he's French, but I mean, he's French London.
Yeah.
Like, he was on the market. Gay, I think that you could go and get. Even Adam Wharton, if you wanted to, like, sort of get a sort of sitting midfielder. There's a lot of British players on the market, and I am a bit surprised that after what we were told, we're just linked with essentially Dutch players.
Yeah, for sure. Just a couple more here. Bilal saying here, Kalandogu, is that the fullback? Had a good Euros, but not seeing him playing club football. That's a guy from Fenerbahce, I believe.
There's a bit more to him than just Fenerbahce.
Oh, I see it there. Okay, I see it.
Well, do you know where he was born?
Don't tell me Salford.
No, Holland. He played.
Yeah. I did know that.
He's played at every level except for senior team for the Dutch. He is essentially Dutch.
Yeah,
which is why no surprise we're linked with him.
So we just, while we're on that, just dropped, because I didn't see that story at the bottom there. So we're talking about, because Bila brought it up, May United accept talks with Ferdi
Kadıgoglu.
I'm going to have to learn that one. Representatives over potential transfer from Fenerbahce. He's valued at about 35 to 40 million. Now he's going to give us cover at both left back and right back. We talked about the right backs earlier, Mazraoui and Frimpong as well. This is someone who's versatile and has played in various positions. From when he's in Holland, he's played left wing, he's played right wing, he's played attacking midfielder. And in one game, the story behind it is he played. That he came on, went to 10 men, I think, and he played left back and played really well. And then he didn't play there again for another sort of almost a season at left back. And then he sort of established himself, because in the final third, he's so good, even though he's right-footed, playing at left back. In the final third, there's been like demonstrations of what he can do. He plays subtle passes, play balls around the corner. He can cross with his left foot as well. So very interesting player that is. A bit like Dennis Irwin, I'd say, right-footed, he can play left back, but that you wouldn't notice the difference. Anything to add about this guy?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, because he can obviously invert from fullback. Like he's basically just a footballer. Like he plays every position. He understands it. He's like a real sort of product of like Dutch philosophy. He will fit in with the Dutch culture in the team. Like he'll know the players. He's played in that league for the majority of his career, and he can cover across everywhere. My only concern is that I think that when we get if you're paying about 40 million euros, it's a difficult kind of price tag, because what you really want is you want someone that ups the quality of the team as opposed to covers positions for people. And this is a sort of signing that maybe an Arsenal or a City can do, where their squad is good enough to compete for the league. I'm not sure that it's the best use of our funds. I think we should be looking for players that are going to play a certain position and are going to do certain roles and drive the team forwards. Katakoglu isn't going to get ahead of Shaw at left back, and he's probably not going to get ahead of Delo at right back. So I don't see how he improves the quality of the first team, and that would be my concern with him.
Okay, a couple more here. Tyrone, how you doing? Says Katakoglu is highly rated in Turkey. Was brilliant in the Euros, but I prefer a naturally left-footed left back. Owen was good with both feet. Want to say hi to Eddie Football Waffle. How you doing, man? He's saying he's hitting the like button. Thank you. And Andrew's saying here, when Erik ten Hag leaves in a few months, we're going to be looking like twats. Agile Beast saying the British players are coming through our academy, and that's how I would want it, unless we're buying a generational talent like Rooney or Rio. Definitely.
Or Adam Smith. Do you remember that?
Alan Smith.
Alan Smith.
Yeah.
What was that about? Yeah. What was that about?
Paul Tierney saying that Roas, 19 years old. I'd prefer Enios Rude. Managed.
Enzio, the Brighton player.
Oh, him. Okay. So they seem to bring in some talent, don't they? And they got a good eye for a player. All right. What's next? We've done the Turkish dude.
Well, here's one for both me and you, Monday. McTominay, Maguire, and Lindelof all have price tags, but United aren't really looking to sell them, and they would certainly like to keep McTominay.
Yeah, I've read that as well. And obviously, McTominay is like a touchy subject with one of our staff members, isn't he? He won't have it, really. I mean, we've talked to McTominay for a couple of years now. And is he good enough? And I think it's established with me and you that we think he's good. But yeah, I understand a lot of people don't like him as a player, and they're quite happy to see him leave. But this is a guy who scored 10 goals last year. Happy to stay on the bench and come on, do a job, physically strong, come on late in the game, and do a good job. I think he knows the Premiership. I think he's homegrown as well. So I like McTominay. I think he should stay. You've got players like that. Look, we had Phil Neville in our Championship winning side, who people might say he's not the best player, but he's loves the club. Same with Darren Fletcher. There's always been comparisons, Scottish Darren Fletcher and McTominay. I think McTominay is a very effective player. Maguire, you know how I feel about him. I love him. I think he should stay. And it's Lindelof to one out of three. I would say, I'd be less unhappy if he left.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The only thing is I think Lindelof probably has a lot of credit in the bank for what he did last year, which is he filled in at left back a lot. He got Amrabat out of the team, and a lot of players always complain about stuff and things. I think Lindelof got on with his job, and I think he did okay at left back. We know he's an excellent passer of the football. There's a lot of things Lindelof's not good at, right? He's not good at sort of aerial duels and these sort of things. And with Martinez, that makes him a non-starter. But he does have quality. And I think that if you're looking at a reserve centre-back, Lindelof is an extremely high standard to have for a Premier League reserve centre-back. And I would suspect that that with the money that we're being offered for him, about 8 to 10 million, it's probably not worth swapping him.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is. And as long as he doesn't cause problems and he trains and he works hard and he buys into the ethos, I imagine that they're happy for him just to sort of continue and maybe maybe go on a free at some point.
Interesting. Tyron Williams saying here, McTominay scored goals last season, but you'll never be able to rely on him to make a vital interception. He can't read the game. He has to be allowed to leave. See what I mean? It causes so much division, McTominay. Eddie saying here, I believe Mr. B calls him Mac Bumberhole. He certainly does. Time to go. He wants him out as well. Bilal saying, I'm saying sell them all. And Zico saying he prefers Adam Wharton ahead of Gartek.
I agree.
British player again. Eddie saying here, McTominay, Maguire, Lindelof, can at least one of them just be released? Tired of dead wood. So it doesn't like, yeah, want us to refresh the side, they're saying here. Again, Eddie saying here, come on. Who has compared McTominay to Fletcher? Fletcher made it to captain and had proper levels. And we've got Bilal saying here, Lindelof weak, Maguire slow, McTominay can't pass. So you see, like, these three guys are not really respected by fans, judging by free comments.
I don't know. It's very difficult when people talk like this because we've always got to like respect what people are saying. But you can just look at them and understand that all of this that is being said is essentially just bollocks. Like Lindelof and Maguire were a better partnership than Martinez and Varane. Right? They got us Champions League football. They're both like, okay, Maguire is a vice captain of England and Lindelof is the Sweden captain.
Right.
They're not bad players at all. They're very good players. If they were playing for other clubs, you would look at them and say that's exactly the type of player that we need in. And I mean, like I think Eddie said something about Fletcher being captain. McTominay was captain a lot last season in some of our best displays, and is the de facto vice captain of the club now. If you watch a football match and you see what they're all doing and you think that that's poor, then that's fantastic. But if you look at the players and the managers and things like that, they all love them for a reason, and it might serve you well to actually try and work out what that reason is and maybe like improve your understanding of a football match.
Okay. Is it nostalgia why people are saying Fletcher's levels ahead of Scott? I don't see much between them as players.
I like Fletcher, but I mean, he didn't have a stomach literally for a long time. Like
irritable bowel disease, didn't he?
Yeah, like Crohn's disease, I think.
Crohn's, okay.
He was an. I like Fletcher, and he was a really good player. But it's from a different era, and I mean, I remember people hated Fletcher, and what was the game? It was Arsenal, weren't it, when Nani did the keepy uppies and got chopped down?
That's right.
People said that was Fletcher's best game, and he wasn't even in the top 2 or 3 players in the match. Like stuff changes. Like people remember things differently and stuff like that.
Can you give me an opportunity to have a go at Andrew, please?
Yes.
It's you are, not your.
Yeah. What's he complaining about? Oh, Leach and Varane.
Yeah.
It's not untrue.
Sorry, Andrew. Don't come at me.
Andrew, it's not untrue. We scored more goals and we conceded less and we played higher with Maguire and Lindelof. Like, you might think that they're better players individually and so on, but we got more points in the league with those two than we did with Martinez and Varane. And that, like, that's inarguable. All right. So you can say, in your opinion, that they're a better partnership, but the statistics and the evidence and the data is that they weren't.
I think the idiot's directed at me, not you.
No, it's me.
No, it's me.
Okay.
I'm sure it's me. All right. So that's about our 3 players that are already at the club. Let's talk about Matarazzo again, because we did touch on that. That's the one we haven't touched on yet. Could leave Bayern with the original valuation of 30 million, drop to 20 or 25. A realistic price would be 15 to 20 million guaranteed. He's keen on a move to the Premier League. He's 26 years old.
I've got to be honest, I don't know a lot about Mazraoui or whatever. He's good. I'm sure that he's a decent player. Of course, he played for Ajax, so we're going to be like linked to him. Yeah, and Maguire and Lindelof finished second. Nice one. I don't know a lot about him. I'm sure he's a decent player. He definitely will. He's played in like Holland, so he'll probably understand the system. If it's a straight swap between him and Wan-Bissaka, I'm willing to take a punt on Mazaraoui.
Me too. Remember, he played left back, didn't he, for Bayern Munich when in the semi-final, Champions League, when the Canadian guy got injured. He ended
Alphonso
up
Davies.
Yeah, he played left back and done pretty well. Always had a bit of respect for that guy. Looks pretty good. Obviously, he's a right back and he's Moroccan, but he's not the best Moroccan right back, is he?
Hakimi. I'd love us to get him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. What I do love about this, I mean, look, guys, we all have our views about players and that kind of thing. And maybe, I mean, for the first time in a long time, me and Bath time are agreeing on something, in the comments. So, yeah, we appreciate all your comments, guys. If you disagree, that's fair enough. But yeah, at least you make your point. Like here, Eddie's saying here, Bath time, we can stick with your desire for mediocrity. Then because Maguire and Lindelof only did well with a low block footy, and that has been a good formula. Good longevity formula. We sat back too much. This is like a few years ago.
Yeah, this is kind of what I mean, because this isn't correct. Is that we played higher with those two players than we did with Martinez and Varane.
Yeah,
we scored more goals and we conceded less. And I understand people remember stuff differently, and that obviously those Solskjaer years, a lot of people didn't like the football and stuff like that. But it's like I don't really know what to say, because there's reality and then there's like other people's sort of views on it, and somewhere in the middle you like to meet. But these are incorrect like statements.
Yeah, fair enough. Bart's saying here about Mazaraoui, he's a bit injury prone. So why do you think Ten Hag will get a tune out of him? I don't know. Maybe we need to look at this and do a bit more research, especially me, because I didn't know about the injury issues. I always concerned when Bayern Munich want to get rid of a player. Though,
yeah,
so that suggests something. And people say De Ligt was injury prone as well. So yeah, maybe we
missed 25% of his games since leaving Ajax.
Okay. Andrew Williams saying here we're both wrong. Maybe we are. It's true. Not being good longevity formula, says Eddie. We've got Fletcher has. Is this what he has? How do you pronounce that?
Ulcerative colitis.
His twins are very good. I do like Jack.
I like Jack as well.
So are they both midfielders? The twins? I didn't get to see them play.
I haven't seen them. I haven't seen both of them.
Highly rated.
Yeah, I think it was almost 2 million that we paid to get them out of City. Like Jack Fletcher was about 800 grand, and I'm not sure what the other one is.
Okay. It's always funny with twins. Like we had the twins, the Brazilians, didn't we? And one was slightly better than the other. It's a bit like Gary Neville and Phil Neville. We always felt that Gary Neville was slightly better. And I don't have.
That's one of my favourite conspiracy theories in football. Is that some player, I can't remember who it was, is absolutely convinced that at half time, when one of them was playing, the other one used to come on because they were just relentless in their energy. Yeah.
You'd never know, though. That's the thing. They were almost identical, weren't they, Fabio?
Yeah. Well, genetically, they were identical,
yeah. Varane was our best. Martinez Varane was our best percentage partnership since Rio and Vidic and Andrew Williams. Andrew is really triggering, isn't it? Talking about interacting on the show like this. And Rabiot is a free agent, says Kahinde Zika. We've discussed him before. I don't think that's going to happen. Doesn't look like.
Well, there was some news on it, but it was no news, which is that Rabiot would like to come to the Premier League and he's waiting for offers. And that because he's a free agent, it can be done. Yeah, it can be done in like 20 minutes, essentially. So it might happen. I mean, who knows? Like, if we lose Casemiro towards the end of the transfer window, we might sort of get Rabiot in to replace him. But at the moment, it feels like one player is going to move, and this whole domino effect will start. We appear to sort of just be on the verge of pouncing on lots of different players. But it's exciting times.
It was exciting for me. It's more measured. We're not panic buying or sort of buying anyone last minute, like just because they're available. So hopefully we'll see a better season. I think we'll be better than 8th for sure. I'm kind of like quietly excited. I just want to see the youngsters do well. I want to see the new signings play well. I want to see us play a better brand of football. So yeah, all eyes will be glued on Man United.
Who would be your number one target from all the names that we've seen today? Like, what position and what player would be the one where you think yes?
I would like. Well, we talked about centre backs, De Ligt. At the moment, yes, but I would prefer to have a fullback. I think that will offer us something more. There are so many fullbacks you mentioned. I would go for the Turkish guy. I know you said that he might not be
Ferdy.
Business. The Turkish dude, yeah.
Why over the other two?
Because he looks physically strong. With Frimpong, he plays wide, high up the pitch.
He's a winger, basically.
He's not going to be around for defensive action so much. This guy, when I watched him for Turkey, and granted, I didn't watch him for Fenerbahce. I don't know much about him, but when I watched him for Turkey, he was strong. He was, direct. He was getting back. He's physically got something about him as well. So I thought, I never realised we would be in for him. But now that he's mentioned, that would be my number one target, to be honest, because that way he can play both sides. And also, don't forget, if you look at where he's played throughout his years, we need a versatile player who can play anywhere. You can put him in the middle of the park. You can put him attacking midfielder. You can put him wide, right or left. He will do a job. So I think you do need a versatile player like that in any squad, And
so your top target is a squad player that isn't going to start matches.
Out of all the players that we featured today, he's the one for me because he's versatile and he will cover left back and right back, and also he can do other things on the pitch as well, and he's stronger than the others. So yeah, that might sound fine. What about you? Who do you have?
I'd bite your hand off for Fabian Ruiz. Like, he would be incredible, but we're not linked with him. Of the players, do you know what? I think I'm torn between two. One is Ugarte, because I think Ugarte, I don't really understand what all that is about. So I'd like to sign him so I can learn a bit more about football. But I like the idea of getting a Frimpong or a Vanderson style player in. Because I think it brings a completely different dimension to how we have to set up the team, and I just think it would be quite exciting to see what a kind of wing back playing all by himself out on one side of the pitch would be like. Like, no team in the Premier League that I can think of has really done it since maybe someone like Stephen Carr, Tottenham Hotspur. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Paul Tierney, how you doing? Thanks a lot. Thanks for the love there. Saying thanks for the show, guys. I show no hate, no time for that. Ain't got time for that, he says. Ain't got time for that. Nor have we. It's not hate. It's just we love bumping heads with you guys. It's all good, man. Keep the comments coming, no doubt about it. And finally here, Bila saying not happy with Onana. We should replace him. We haven't even touched on that. I think he's good enough to stay. I think
it was a very unfortunate story today about a third choice goalkeeper United have been trying to sign for about a year. First time we signed him, he failed his medical. And the second time we signed him, he failed the medical again. So there's a poor keeper out there who's failed 2 medicals in a year.
What about Manchester the guy, Czech, Vitek? He's massive. What do you think of him? Is there any future for him?
I wouldn't have thought so. Okay. I think the days of having was it Sergio Romero, who was like the best second keeper in the world. And before that, I think we had Victor Valdez, of all people.
That's true.
I think that Onana, I can understand, like Andrew, I think, hates Onana. It looks like Bilal doesn't like Onana. This is such a cop-out. I'm willing to give him one more season.
Yeah.
You can't deny that he's got the attributes to play it out from the back, but he launched it too much last year. He's not good enough on crosses, and he was really dodgy for the first 2 or 3 months. I would be up for giving him a year, but no, I haven't changed my opinion on Ugarte. I don't think he's very good. I don't understand what the signing is about, and that's why I want us to get him, because it means that I'm going to learn like of it. Like I'm going to understand what I missed from looking at him. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Yeah, good point. There you go, guys. Just finally, I just want, because I didn't get to have time. I know most of you guys must have watched the show over the weekend, but what your thought as a centre back? I really enjoyed watching the new signing, Lenny. I'm gonna call him Lenny.
Okay.
I thought he was really good for his age. Showed a lot of qualities and his passing, his composure, and he's sprayed a couple of balls as well. I was really impressed, and I don't know what you guys think in the comments. Are you impressed with Lenny? I know it's only 45 minutes, but is that enough to get you excited about what's to come? For me, yes, I like it a lot.
I was blown away, Amondo. Like I genuinely haven't seen a defender of that age that good since John Terry. Like I know that like he's highly regarded, and I've seen a lot of clips of him. But watching him in a game is very different, sort of YouTube and stuff like that. I'm completely on board with him being a generational centre back. I couldn't believe how good that guy was. Like, I know it's just 45 minutes, but the reading of the game, the use of the body, the ability to burst forward is which I really like. Like, I like Maguire, and I like it when Maguire gets forward with the ball, but it doesn't travel the way that Yoro does. His ability to hit a wide range of passes. He handled Dessers extremely well. And it's with our other defenders, they're kind of on the down. Like Maguire's going to decline physically a little bit. Maybe Martinez will grow, who knows? But Yoro is going to be better every single game. And I'm really, really excited. I can't believe we've got a player that talented off everyone in Europe. Extraordinary.
Brilliant. All right, that's enough from us, guys. Hey, everyone in the comments, thanks for jumping on board today. Thanks for having a good discussion with myself and Bath Time. It's all love, as you say. And I really enjoyed that. I mean, we're going to disagree, but it's all for the benefit. We all want Man United to do well. That's for sure. And
we're all a family, aren't we, on Monday? And families argue.
Well, yeah, we are. We are like brothers, most certainly. So, guys, Agile Beast is saying, my wife calls me Lenny. Lenny, I think Lenny Henry, and I think of the guy from The Simpsons as well. Two of my favourite Lennys, no doubt about it. But now I've got a third. So, Lenny for Man United is my new favourite Lenny. Great proactive show. Sorry if we pushed your button.
Provocative.
Oh, provocative. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Proactive.
We didn't do anything productive or proactive.
I'm gonna quit while I'm all right, guys. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow, no doubt about it. Bath Time, we're taking a break next week, going on these summer holidays. So it's gonna be myself, Dora, Bath, Mr. B.
We've got a huge show on Wednesday, especially the after part of Monday. Stefan and Dora will be on Wednesday with Mr. B, me and a Monday, and hopefully it will be a very, very short show. Okay. And tomorrow we're going to have Stefan on as well.
Okay, brilliant. Guys, signing out. Thank you again. Press the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. See you tomorrow.